Bum, 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 bum.
Last one is
7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Hey, all right, live on the YouTube. Joining us in the Totally the Euros studio with Sasha Goryunov and Duncan Alexander. And we're going to lay down tonight's podcast if you're ready. Sorry about the delay. A bit of late drama there in Leipzig and such. Excellent. Good. Everyone good? Ready? We've got a little bit of audio to play out to you in the course of today's show. Hopefully catch up with James Horncastle as well, but we'll see how realistic a prospect that is, because he's currently in the bowels of the stadium there, the RB Arena, talking to Italian folk. You're probably quite excited about right now. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. I'll come back and do an intro at the end, and then the show proper will begin with me saying Monday the 24th of June, and it's totally at the Euros, day 11 on the way. We're going to be hearing from Tim Spears in Leipzig. Also, James Horncastle on Italy, Croatia. We've got Michael Cox in Dusseldorf, bringing you Spain, Albania. Also, Slovenian journalist Miran Zora on Slovenia. And here in the studio, Slovenia are playing England next, that's why. Yep. Here in the studio, Duncan Alexander. Hello.
Hello, James.
Yes. And Sasha Goryunov. Nice to see you again, Sash.
Even James. Wow.
Wow. All right. Which bit of today has got you so pumped?
I think there is only one bit of today that could get us so pumped. And it's just seeing... Actually, no one got me really pumped. We were checking third place permutations, and then they disappeared.
They did, didn't they?
For Italy. And then we looked at the screen, and Zaccagni received the ball on the left.
We're running on a 60-second delay on our match coverage.
A lot of people around the country, a lot of people are on Uri players.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was looking at how Italy were doing on the third place rankings.
And then you couldn't find them.
They suddenly disappeared, and then we knew. We looked at the screen, and we saw that extraordinary finish from Zaccagni.
They'd either scored, or it was some nefarious move from Big Permutation, who control all outcomes.
Well, we're really in the thick of Big Permutation Central, aren't we? We'll be looking at one or two of Sasha's notes, because I think tonight's results mean, for example, that England are now definitely through. Is that right?
Yes, and also Hungary now have a great chance of going through.
Do they? Do they now? All right. Well, the results from Monday evening are as follows. Only two of them. In Leipzig, Italy with that late Zaccagni goal, drawing 1-1 against Croatia. Croatia almost certainly go out. We'll have that confirmed for you.
Tough for them.
Italy will be facing Switzerland in Berlin next Saturday. The other game from the group in Dusseldorf saw Spain fielding a pretty much all-changed side, having already won the group. They took on Albania, beat them 1-0 with a goal from Ferran Torres, and they'll be playing one of the third-place sides, Spain, at the end of this week. Let's start with events in Leipzig. So can you go commentary? Are Croatia in or out, by the way?
They're not out yet,
but
they're likely to be out.
Yeah, okay, cool. Save that. Oh, right, this time I really am going to save it. Hold on. Oh, no, not that again. Okay. All right, cool. Zaccagni finish. Yes, he can. 97 minutes and 23 seconds into the game. Italy with only their third shot on target, equalising Croatia, escaping from a humiliating third place in the group and going through to the knockout stages. Tim Spears joins us from Leipzig. Tim Spears on the whistle. What a finale.
Yeah, I'm just watching the Croatian players all stood in a line with their hands on their hips, just sort of staring at the away end, who were mostly just sort of staring back at them, to be honest. It was a home game for Croatia here tonight. There's like 25,000 of them. And they were gearing up for a party, Jimbo. The atmosphere was getting louder and louder and louder through 8 minutes of stoppage time. And they are just absolutely devastated. They're all sat around me, not knowing where to look. Some of them are in tears. Some of them are pretty angry. And yeah, Croatia are out the Euros. What an incredible match.
Yeah, extraordinary. You are absolutely drenched in Croatian beer, meanwhile, Tim.
Oh, Jimbo, won't someone please think of the journalists? Jeez. Yeah, no, the beer throwing thing's been a bit of a phenomenon at the tournament. Obviously, I guess we're not used to it watching most of the European club football where you're not allowed to drink in the stands, but you certainly are here. And the £3 deposit and £10 for what's basically a half pint of Bitburger doesn't put people off throwing their plastic beer cups either onto the pitch. I can see them strewn all over by the corner flags, or just at each other or at journalists. There are a couple of pretty nasty confrontations with journalists here who are getting their laptops soaked. I stayed calm, Jimbo. Yeah, and I really like rambunctious, sort of boisterous atmosphere with these Croatian fans. Like they've travelled in huge numbers to Germany, and they've had absolutely nothing to cheer for a week and a bit. And yeah, like I said, a night of wildly contrasting emotions for them tonight.
Indeed. So a great goal from Luka Modric, which had them poised to take second spot in a clash with Switzerland in the last 16 next Saturday. Italy will instead be turning up against the Swiss, thanks to Zaccagni's finish. And what a finish it was, Tim.
Incredible. I mean, I don't know where the marking went for Croatia, but yeah, it was a gorgeous finish. I had a great view of it here from the press box, right in the corner, and then the away end, as it were, just goes absolutely crazy. All the staff, the Italian staff and subs, streaming onto the pitch. Yeah, it was a beautiful finish. I didn't see it coming, to be honest. Italy looked like they'd run out of ideas. Never really recovered after that great start to the second half for Croatia, who finally looked like a team. You know, they've really struggled to get their best 11 on the pitch. Zlatko Dalic, apart from picking his dad's army midfield, doesn't seem to have a clue what to do with this team, but they finally look like they got it together. And then, yeah, like I said, a fantastic finish in stoppage time.
Tim, go and enjoy a beer. Another fine night's work for yourself. And we'll catch up with you soon.
I already smell like one. So yeah. I already smell like one, so I might as well drink one.
May as well. Oh, that was Tim Spears. Good to hear he's not bitter about some of the stadium conditions there. Lovely stuff from Tim, Sasha and Duncan. Well, what a finale to not necessarily the highest quality of performances, but yet another late goal, Sasha.
Yeah, so I think we were looking at the stats. Is it 9th goal after the 90th minute now?
Yeah, and only 3 in the group stage 3 years ago in the last tournament. I mean, obviously that was played under the COVID restrictions, etc. I don't know if that, impacted fatigue levels, but yeah, it's definitely been a trend of this tournament.
Don't leave the ground early, kids. Stay till the end, because there's always drama. I think a lot of these late goals were also quite decisive as well, and probably none more so than tonight. But I mean, for example, at the end, last night we saw a very decisive goal for Hungary that will probably now take them through. So yeah, it's been exciting all round. But as Tim said, we didn't really see it coming, because after the penalty was missed and Croatia scored straight away. By the way, what a nice finish from Modric.
So this was 54 minutes.
Yeah, 54 minutes.
Italy had struggled a bit at the start, then come into it, probably dominated the first half. Croatia had come out in the second half and looked much the better side.
Subs worked. I think who did they put on Budimir, and suddenly there's like a lot more bodies there, but pressing Italy back.
Bodymore, right.
From Fellowship of the Ring. He's a good lad.
Yeah.
54 minutes, there's a handball called on Fratesi, and a penalty is decreed. Up steps Luka Modric. And Donnarumma, who's been the standout player for the Azzurri so far this tournament, saves. However, the story doesn't end there.
No, 33 seconds later, it's in the back of the net. Some very odd defending from Italy, just kind of letting the ball sail through. And then when the rebound comes out, as Sasha was saying, such a great finish from Modric, because he's kind of falling and he has to kind of make sure he lifts it as well. And yeah, I mean, some players would get affected by missing the penalty, but not him. I mean, I guess when you're 38 years and 289 days old.
Also, when you miss as many penalties as
he
has.
It wasn't a good penalty. It was very... I mean, I don't think Donnarumma had to overthink which side it was going.
Got full palm on it, very comfortable with that.
He is now the oldest ever goal scorer at a European Championship, Luka Modric. So, yeah, Italy were now behind and heading, if not out of the competition, then certainly into a third place and nervous wait, etc. and so on scenario. 87th minute, there was what looked like the chance to see them equalise when Chiesa finally found finally found a ball that flashed across the Croatian goal. And Scamacca was there, but except he wasn't. There was a Croatian defender.
Well, that's what initially we thought, well, how did he miss that? But as I said at the time, it felt like the Croatian defender, whoever that was, did like an anti-Gordon by just sticking a foot in the front of Scamacca, so he couldn't actually kick through to the ball. So in a way, I thought it was quite a remarkable piece of defending.
It was like a new bit of defending.
Yeah.
Like they just unveiled a new way to stop goals. Fair play.
So there was that. What else did we have in this game? Duncan, were you watching it mostly going, Wickham could have both these teams?
Yeah, pretty much. International football, we know, is not at the same level as top club level football. But I think what we've seen over the last few days, particularly, is the sort of mistakes and slightly haphazard defending, which does create a level of excitement that maybe has gone out of the club game a bit at the top level recently. So I think that is one of the reasons why people are enjoying this tournament so much, because it is a little bit of a sort of back to basics, enjoyment fest.
Very much so. The other game in the group, meanwhile, while all that was going on, took place in Dusseldorf, and it saw Spain, already through as group winners, beating Albania 1-0. For further details, over to Michael Cox. Michael, what happened at the Dusseldorf Arena?
Well, Spain rotated their team and played a B team, which can go one of two different ways. Either they can kind of just look flat and disjointed and, this isn't the real Spain, or they can all play like they're trying to get in the first 11. And I think it was the latter. I think Spain were excellent first half. I thought the best player was Dani Olmo, played as the number 10. Kind of a different option to what they've already got in their starting 11. I thought he was excellent. Albania, to be fair, gave it a go. I think the pattern from all three of their games has been they've started very well and they've ended very well. And the kind of 70 minutes in between, they've had to suffer a bit. But, I mean, fair play to them. They've been eliminated. But it feels to me like they've really given it a go in all three matches. There was a nice scene at the end just now where their players all went over to the supporters behind the goal and they were almost celebrating the adventure and the way they played rather than the result, of course. But I think in the end, a bit of a positive for both teams.
Excellent. Spain, though, 10 changes, still win the game, still keep a clean sheet. What's your feeling about them in terms of being the out-and-out favourites right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've been the most impressive sides. I think the performance against Italy was fantastic. Croatia, they sorted aside a few problems. And it just showed how comfortable they all are in the system, really. It was a pretty similar formation. Okay, different types of players, but I mean, some of them just look so comfortable. Olmo, as I mentioned, but Ferran Torres scored a great goal from the right flank. I was impressed with Vivian, the right side of centre back, who played some very good passes forward as well. David Raya made a couple of good saves. So, they're maybe not the biggest names. I mean, there's a few players that I must admit I'm relatively unfamiliar with, kind of upper mid-table La Liga players, but they have got an identity, probably more so than anyone in the competition. And I mean, on the basis of the group stage, I know not everyone has played 3 games, but I think they've been the most impressive side. I think they've been excellent and also good to watch. I mean, it feels like a lot of people, myself included, got a little bit bored with, how incessant Spain's possession play was at some previous tournaments. But now they've got proper wingers, a proper centre forwards. They're really exciting.
Magnificent. Michael, thank you so much for bringing us that report from Dusseldorf, and look forward to speaking to you again soon.
No problem. Thanks, James.
This is Spain, eh? Make 10 changes, still win, still keep a clean sheet.
I thought the goal was very nicely constructed, actually, because I think 2 minutes earlier, Spain had a chance and ball went down the wing, crossed in. I think Merino just put the header down the middle. So 2 minutes later, what do? Olmo goes into a bit of space, defender jumps, and Ferran Torres just goes round the back into the gap and gets the ball through the gap, and it's a lovely finish. So I thought, they mixed it up nicely there to confuse the left side of Albanian defence. So it's good to see. I mean, again, with Spain, I know they kind of took the foot off the pedal and took the foot off the gas in the second half, but again, change the team and still play so coherently. It's good.
It's impressive. 3 wins out of 3. Only the second time they've ever done that in a Euros group stage. Last time was 2008 when they went on to win the trophy.
Funny thing with Ferran Torres, born on February the 29th, so he's actually only 6 years old at the moment, so fair play. It's been a tournament of youngsters. And also, he's only scored 31 league goals, but he's got 20 goals for Spain. He is hurtling towards being the new Lucas Podolski, obviously famously better at international football, and fair play.
While you're at it with the stats, you have one about Luka Modric from back in that Italy-Croatia game.
Yeah, I mean, if you take the penalty and then the goal 33 seconds later, that's about 1.21 xg in the space of 33 seconds. Sounds quite good, and it sounds even better when you think that England have generated 1.39 across 2 games.
Good Lord. So Luka Modric in the space of 33 seconds matched England's output.
Pretty much.
Attacking output. Interesting. On the subject of England, though, having just thrown a little bit of shade Harry Kane's way, here's some good news from today's events.
Yeah, Albania losing. I mean, Sasha's the permutations man, but Albania losing means England are through. So what was everyone worried about?
What indeed. All right. There's a world of difference, though, in bracket terms between finishing third and finishing top of the group. And if England want to do that, they might want to beat Slovenia on Tuesday.
But perhaps not too heavily if Slovenia want to qualify.
Right. Well, that's true. That's true. Anyway, who knows what tomorrow brings in a world where few hearts survive. Well, we'll be having a look at that with groups C and D, Tuesday's matches next. Oh, I just thought we might have a bit of Horncastle. So shall I? Do you think we will, or is? I mean, the thing is, we've asked for him, so you might get a bit. So, I tell you what, we'll do it coming off the back. I'll say. We'll be getting on to Tuesday's action very, very shortly, though. Just joining us now from the bowels of Leipzig's RB Stadium. Isn't there? The RB Arena, isn't it? We'll get on to Tuesday's action very, very shortly. We're just joining us. Hang on a second. I was just doing that. We'll get on to Tuesday's action very, very shortly. We'll be getting on to Tuesday's games very, very shortly. But just joining us now from Leipzig, here's James Horncastle. All right, lovely. Okay, cool. But that might not happen. The Athletics Daily Football Briefing is with you every day during the summer. It has all the football news you need to know in a 10-minute show, including all the latest from the Copa America. That's hosted by Ian McIntosh. If you want a deeper dive into the big footballing issues, try the Athletic FC podcast. That's here every weekday afternoon. Today's edition, they're asking in today's edition, they are asking, is Tiki Taka over? And who's going to buy Nico Williams? It's going to be a beefy show. Akin Waleri, the likes of David Ornstein, Adam Crofton and Matt Slater all chipping in on the Athletic FC podcast. Right. Tuesday, Group C, England's group, is back in action. As you'll recall, 2 games in, England have had a narrow 1-0 win with Serbia and a poor 1-1 draw with Denmark. But they are already through and about to face Slovenia in a match which will determine what kind of qualifying draw they get in the round of 16. Here's Slovenian journalist Miran Zore. Miran, what a tournament so far for Slovenia. The draw against Denmark, you narrowly missed out on a first win in the Serbia game. Slovenia could actually be topping the group right now.
We can be very satisfied with 2 points, of course. But yeah, interesting matches. Denmark was a bit tougher. Serbia, but also Serbia was a shocking game for all of us. But Slovenia, I think, presented a very decent football for our standards, maybe even more. So we can be satisfied. So 2 points are good for us. But of course, now England, everything can go up or down.
Up or down, indeed. So there was so much talk before the tournament about Benjamin Sesko. His performances so far maybe haven't lived up to expectations, and he's now got an injury issue ahead of the England game. But in the meantime, Slovenia getting goals so far from their fullbacks.
We didn't expect that, of course, the fullbacks to score. But yeah, both of the players are lower caliber players for us. So one is playing in Poland, one is playing in Slovenia. So I think it's mentality issues for both of them. They are very specific players. They aren't considered to be a star or something like that. They surprise us all. But for Šeško, well, he has a bit of a cramp issue from, I don't know, a month ago. He's going through with painkillers as far as I know. So I think he'll play. we miss his goals, of course.
For sure. There's been some suggestions that Josip Ilicic could return to the side for this game, which could be marvellous. An incredibly talented player, as we saw in his Atalanta days.
As far as Ilicic goes, Slovenia is obviously a small side, and we just have a bit of a one plan for every match. It's 4-4-2 formation, reactive football, to get a ball and just going fast towards Šeško and Sporar. But our second or B plan is just Ilicic. He's a free role player, to be precise. He can add something. We won't change formation or something like that, Our only change can be just Josip Ilicic in 16th minutes or something, 17th minutes, to play 20, 30 minutes versus England. I think this is our plan B, and I think it's in motion.
Okay. I'm not sure what expectations were when the draw for the groups was made, but after seeing England's performances so far, particularly the last game against Denmark, do they not look like such daunting opponents? Do you feel that Slovenia actually have a real chance against them?
Well, after the draw, there was an expectation in Slovenia to get a point versus Denmark and to surprise and beat our rival Serbia. So we kind of almost managed to achieve that. There was never a plan versus England in Slovenia. That's obvious because you are one of the favorites in this tournament. But now everything changes. England is already in the next phase of the competition. So we kind of hope and expect to repeat performance from the last two matches, and to hope that England will have their own problems, maybe England can, I don't know, to try something new, but Slovenia just has to be compact and look for that reaction moment. I don't know, Šeško, Spora. We can surprise. That's the main hope for us.
Yep, there we go. Can I just check something, Lucy? So, in this group, the winner in this group will play? We'll play a third place thing. Right. Okay. I'm now reading the words in front of me. Excellent. Milan's. Oh, it's not Milan. Sorry, is it? It is Milan. Sorry. What is this? I got the name completely wrong. Hang on a second. Yeah, Miranzori. Miranzori. Excellent stuff there. Wow, delicate match this for Slovenia. Currently, the group has England top on 4 points, and then Denmark and Slovenia both on 2 points, but Slovenia in third spot, and they're currently occupying the last of the qualifying third places, if you know what I mean, with Serbia a point behind. Whoever finishes runners-up in the group will be up against Germany in the last 16. The winners, could well be England, will take on a third-place side themselves. So key match this for Slovenia. They are very much the underdogs against England. Good news for them is they don't have Harry Kane kind of weighing them down, slow anything down, being the top scoring European player in the last 4 major tournaments, any of that stuff.
But they also don't lose very much. I was looking at the stats. They lost 2 games in 2 years, and that was to Finland and to Denmark. But they've beaten at the same time Norway, Romania, USA, and Portugal when they both centre mid scored back in March, I think. So, I mean, they effectively need probably to get a point to go through here. So, but from that preview, it sounds like they will be quite happy with the draw. And as I said, they'll stay compact and see what they can get. And England so far have shown that they might struggle against compact.
I mean, they sort of struggle in every scenario. I mean, it has got elements of 2010, hasn't it, when England played Slovenia in their third game and needed a win, and Jermaine Defoe scored, and England got to play Germany in the next round and got heavily beaten.
So they did. 1-0 was the scoreline back in 2010. Rather more recently for England, that 1-1 draw against Denmark, which saw the knives out for so many elements of England's approach. What do you think, after all the criticisms, Gareth's response is going to be in terms of team selection and strategy?
Well, David Ornstein today revealed that it's only been one change, we think. And it's going to be Conor Gallagher coming in for Trent Alexander-Arnold, which is understandable in some respects. I mean, Gallagher's been one of the go-to substitutions so far for Gareth Southgate. But I do feel a bit sorry for Alexander-Arnold because, you know, he's still, if you actually look at the chance creation numbers, he's the best player for England. He's still creative. It's just no one's really making any runs. You know, we saw against Denmark, Kane was dropping deep, Foden was getting pulled out of position, Trippier was like, you know, completely nullified by the fact he's right-footed on the left-hand side. You can't really blame Alexander-Arnold for not finding people when there's not that many people to
Sasha certainly can't.
Well, if I mean, on Kane dropping deep, I think the problem. I mean, if you look at the way he played with Son at Spurs, and when he started dropping deep, Son would make almost telepathic runs for him, and he would pick them out with him. I don't think that's happening for England. In terms of Trent, I think if you look at the first couple of games, I was quite excited to see what it's going to be like. You know, Trent finally getting around the midfield, and it's been a little bit. I think that his position has been ill-defined, and I really cannot see beyond comparing it and trying to play maybe a bit like Toni Kroos. I mean, they went through Kroos's position on BBC. Thomas Frank talked us through where Kroos plays, just behind the midfield, maybe even in the channel. Maybe he can go between like the fullbacks and the centre-backs. But a slightly deeper role, back in the day it was known as the Pirlo role, maybe with Rice protecting him somewhat, where maybe he cannot be pressed as much, and he can pick those passes. He has a better range of passing, I think, than Kroos. But unfortunately, in this England team, he never found himself in that position with a little bit of space where he can control the game effectively. So in the end, he ends up doing not very much. The odd run forward still creates some chances, but looking at the way he's playing, it just kind of doesn't feel that he's comfortable with it at all. And it's also surprising to bring this into major tournament without really trying it before.
Yeah.
Sorry, Duncan.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's not an ability issue with England players. They're all very good players. It's a mixture of psychological. You know, the fact that they do drop deep every time. I mean, if they take the lead against Slovenia, which could well happen, tune in, see if it happens. Surely they will know they're through anyway. This is a really good opportunity to, you know, go hell for leather and maybe try and win 2 or maybe even 3-0.
Yeah, I can envisage a scenario in which Gordon perhaps comes on, they score bundles of goals, and we all forget any of this stuff happened until the next tournament when everyone goes, this is exactly what happened in Euro 2024. However, we'll see tomorrow. Tune in, find out. But I, for one, wouldn't be averse to seeing plucky Slovenia making further headway in this competition. As I mentioned, they are currently set for one of the third place berths in the knockout stages.
I mean, we should point out that on Saturday the Tour de France starts and they'll have 2 of the top 3 favourites to win the race. So, you know, in some sports they're very much the superpower.
Very nice. Excellent. The other game in this group, it's Denmark-Serbia. Of course, that's taking place in Munich. Serbia could take second place still if they beat Denmark and Slovenia don't beat England. Denmark, who've been kind of quietly one of the better sides. Is that fair?
Yes,
Euro 2024?
It feels like Højbjerg and Eriksson have been playing in their more proper positions. Certainly, I think there's a bit of snobbery, I think, towards Højbjerg because of his season at Spurs. It's like against England, it's like, look how well he's playing. I mean, it's only Højbjerg. What's he doing to England? But again, I think Eriksson has a much more sensible role than he does for United, so he actually can lead this team. So maybe sometimes a sensible management can actually lead to good outcomes, which is not something you'd say for England at the moment.
Well, let's see, Sash. They go up against Slovenia. Denmark take on Serbia, and that's Group C. But that's not all. On Tuesday, there's also, earlier on, Group D. We'll get into that next. Group D. Can you name those 4 teams, Duncan?
Yeah. Netherlands, France, Austria, Poland.
Correct. Pointless Poland. Poland, the only others. Sorry, Poland already out. The other 3 teams separated by just 1 point. Netherlands and France tied on 4 points, with Netherlands ahead on goals scored. Austria a point behind with 3. Austria will be taking on Netherlands at 5 o'clock in Berlin. Whoever finishes second in the group will be playing runner-up of Group E. Sasha, who's that going to be?
Probably odds on for Turkey at the moment.
Will it be Turkey, do you think?
No, Group
okay.
E. Sorry, Group
Group
E.
E.
Not Group F, Group E.
Group E.
No one knows.
Okay. That's the one where they're all on 3 points.
This is the one where they're going to have a biscotto, by the sounds of it.
The winners of this group, Group D, Netherlands, France, etc., will play the runners-up of Group F.
I mean,
which could be Turkey or Czech Republic or Georgia or
24-team tournaments at this point do lurch into the Alan Partridge Guide to USA '94 because we are swinging round bits of plastic, going. The team who come third in F we don't know.
We don't know. We do know that Netherlands are taking on Austria. They met in the group stage of the last Euro, these two teams. Netherlands running out 2-0 winners in Amsterdam. Goals from Memphis Depay and Denzel Dumfries. In fact, Austria have actually lost their last 7 matches against the Orangi. The last time they beat Netherlands was May 1990. That's extraordinary.
Blimey.
Warm up for the
Tony
World Cup.
Poster era?
Yeah, no,
imagine.
very much so. They look good though, would you say? Ralf Rangnick's men, they swept past Poland last time.
Quite comfortably.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked earlier about international football v club football, and they are a team that look a bit like a club team because they do have that philosophy. And you know, I mean, there's a chance England could play Austria, and I'd be fearful in that
Would
scenario.
you?
Yeah,
Would you?
I think
Okay.
Ralf Rangnick's ultimate revenge on the English countries and media would be big.
Netherlands, meanwhile, can top the group if they essentially if they avoid losing to Austria and better whatever result the French get in their clash with the, as we mentioned, pointless Poland. Big question here, will he play? Will he? Kylian Mbappe.
I mean, he played in a friendly
Mm-hmm.
with a mask on.
I was thinking Paderborn, wasn't it? Second division team. Yeah, okay.
Must be good being like a little team. Obviously, England played Aylesbury before the 1990 World Cup. Like, you know, you do get these little run-outs. I mean, I saw quotes from Lewandowski saying that he played in a mask and he said it took an element of his game away from him. Like, it slowed him down like by a fraction of a second. But obviously, when you're playing at the top level, that's quite important. So
Fine margins, yeah.
yeah, and obviously he still hasn't ever scored in the Euros, Mbappe. So
No French player has scored
in
in
this
these
one, no.
Euros. Yeah, they've had 28 shots, but their only goal has come from Austrian Max Wober back in the opening game. On the subject of Lewandowski, will this be his last game for Poland at a major tournament?
Likely. Looking at the state of Poland, will they qualify for the next
He's
one?
36 as well.
So possibly.
Yeah.
Quite an underwhelming farewell for him.
So far.
But yeah, I think all in this group, all eyes tomorrow are going to be on Netherlands, Austria, and I think that might be quite a good game because obviously, as you said, there's a club team that presses, but also Holland are through. Austria are virtually through themselves because of today's permutations. Maybe some of caution to the wind might be thrown. I don't know. And also structurally, Austria could possibly dismantle Holland because I think everyone looking at Holland, there are certain elements to Holland's game which I quite like. You know, Gakpo on the left, Ake creating all those chances and making all those runs in the first game. But overall, as with so many Ronald Koeman teams, what are they really playing at? So I'll put my neck out and say Austria to beat Holland tomorrow.
Really? Okay. Even though they almost beat France, were it not for that controversial Denzel Dumfries decision?
I think it's crazy that was even mentioned as being controversial because he's clearly getting the keeper's way. It's just because I wasn't watching the game at the time and I was getting Twitter updates and everyone was going nuts. And when I finally saw it, I was like, he's in the goalkeeper's way. He cannot dive after the ball.
You feel the same way about the other controversial penalty decision about Armstrong's?
Armstrong's, yeah. I think Armstrong, yes, I mean, the situation where he tries to buy a penalty by slowing down and stepping across. But again, I think in that situation, he needs to keep on going for goal and also maybe not grab the defender's shirt as well, which I think added to the whole drama of the fall.
Sporting fraud by Armstrong, you're saying?
Damn.
Second
Speaking
cycling
of sporting
reference.
fraud, just to finish off, since we've got this exciting third place teams system where 4 of the 6 third place outfits will make it through, Sasha, you're concerned that come the final games in which group is it that you are keeping an eye out for?
No, Group E. That's definitely
Group
Group E. So Group E, where currently there are all the teams are on the same 3 points, but we have the curious situation that Romania are top on goal difference, Slovakia are currently 3rd on goal difference, and as we know, 4 points takes you through.
Romania top on goal difference.
Romania are top on goal difference because
But
they
then it
scored
goes
3.
down to head-to-head.
I think the whole group has to be head-to-head. This is a discussion we had last time, but I don't think you can break that down. If everyone's level on points, it must be a massive
But I
head-to-head.
think head-to-head's at the end of the group stage. Head-to-head is the first divide.
Yes.
But
For the positions, not for the third places. I'm so glad we rehearsed this before.
but
laid it
if you have 4 teams
Sash,
on
your
4
point
points,
is, though,
Yeah.
that
That's going to
teams
be a disgrace.
could do a combine. They could have a scandal of filling your venue.
Gijón,
town
as
here.
I remembered, Porto.
Right.
Maybe this time it's going to be Frankfurt, because if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
if Slovakia and Romania play out a nice, lovely 0-0 draw, both teams go through.
So Romania are currently top on goal difference. Belgium in second place. Slovakia in third. And Slovakia play Romania. But
That doesn't work, does it?
doesn't work.
They could shake on a 0-0
Yeah.
and do some.
Yeah.
Well, they could play like England, just pass it around.
And then
for
if
the next-
Belgium...
But then,
Yeah. If Belgium, so in the outcome in the other game is going to be that if it's a draw, Ukraine are bottom. Ukraine in this situation have to go out and win the game.
Right.
Basically, they cannot trust the outcome of this other game. And if Ukraine win, then Belgium end up on 3 points, then they end up bottom. So like
Okay.
Romania, Slovakia, hear it now.
Okay.
Just do a draw.
I fear that that's so confusing that I'm going to suggest we actually lose all of that, make it a YouTube exclusive. And where I came to that saying, speaking of sporting fraud, so you said Armstrong sporting fraud. Very nicely done, Duncan. And topical too, as you mentioned earlier. Very good. Well, that has been a rip-roaring ride through the events of Monday. And I hope we've whipped up your appetite for Tuesday's key matches. Of course, in about 24 hours' time, we'll be back to review the events in Group C and D. And hopefully you'll be joining us for that. Many thanks to everyone who was involved in today's production. Tim Spears, Miran. Oh, we had Coxey, didn't we? James Horncastle and Duncan. And Sasha and Riaz and guest producer Lucy in the booth. Thank you for being with us, listener. We'll be back Tuesday evening. For now, from all of us here, it's goodbye. Hurrah. That was super quick, actually. I feel like we must have left some